Well, hello. Good afternoon. I hope everybody's having a good day. Um, my day's been going great. I have got a lot done this morning. So I even finished the binding on this little mug mat. I just kind of wanted to go over what we talked about the other day for those of you that weren't with us. Um, I showed how I keep my scraps somewhat organized. Um, I take my pieces. These were all leftovers. They're scraps, and I sort them by color, put them in a bin, and then when the bin gets kind of overwhelming, then I will take these pieces and I will trim them down. I generally don't know what the I generally cut 6-inch squares, and I don't do a lot of them, but the 6-inch squares work really well for like the pineapple blocks, for the center, for the outer corners, for a lot of my blocks. 6-inch squares. They might be a little too big, but I don't want to have a whole bunch of different sizes of squares sitting around. So 6-inch is a really good size. And then I cut most of the rest of the scraps I don't cut into anything that is a fat quarter or larger. I put that in a bin, I fold it and put it in a bin just for other projects, scrap quilts that need a bigger piece, whatever. I don't want to put it all into strips, but I do. Anything that's under a fat quarter gets cut into the 6-inch squares, and then strips that I cut 1 3/4 inches wide, only because that is a really good size for most all of my blocks like my pineapple blocks, my log cabin blocks, the diagonal stripe blocks. I'm going to show you this one today. This is our hexagon log cabin. And so when I already have them cut, it just makes it much easier to sit down and actually get a project done. I'm going to show you, this is what I worked on Tuesday. This is my 8-inch diagonal block. And this is one block. And then I sewed 4 together to make this. And I've got several of these made like this. So I have a bin of strips that are all neutrals, grays and tans down to an off-white. So that is a wedding quilt I'm in the process of making. But I wanted to show you some of our other projects. This is a scrappy log cabin quilt. This is made from batiks. And there's 24 blocks in this. And actually, Laura and I made 2 of these quilts. And they're all made from the same color. It's a variant of colors. And they go together, and they make twin size quilts. So if you have 2 twin beds in your room, it's ideal. And then and I do believe that the borders are the same fabric, so they have a little connection. They're not identical. No 2 blocks are identical, but I used from my bin of batik strips and squares. This is what we did with that one. And then I have this is just a single block made from a red. I think I mixed batiks and cotton fabric. The diagonals are all batiks from my strip, and I have no idea how big I'm going to make this. I don't know how much I have in the way of scraps to make this, but the idea was I pulled green scraps from my batik stash, and made, this is the basic table runner. It's ready to be quilted and bound. And then this is one from my turquoise batik stash. I do have the solids on bolts. I have quite a few, so then I try to pull fabrics that it will go with. But you know, if you want, I think it's a yard is all you need for this of the solid, or whatever you want to have go with your varied fabrics. But that just gives you a little bit of an idea of what you can do with these strips. I showed my king size rainbow pineapple quilt that I am making another one of. So today I want to make this actually, where did I put the quilt? This is a pattern for a little table topper. Oh, excuse me. This is the table topper. Now this one was purpose made. This one was made from a some leftover 10-inch squares from the Cafe collection, and I just kind of did a color wash with it. But I want to make something a little larger, and I'll tell you, I went out this morning and I picked I picked a bouquet of my irises. If you saw my blog yesterday, you saw the purple one. I have a bunch of those deep purple, almost black irises that actually came from my grandmother's yard via my husband's 2 aunts, kind of along. My grandmother passed away when I was 12, and she was known for her iris garden. And over the years, when she would dig up, you know, and split the bulbs, she gave some to my husband's oldest aunt. They were very good friends, and Bob and I didn't know each other yet. But then the oldest sister, when she split them, gave them to the her younger sister, Bob's youngest aunt. And since I have such a huge garden, when she would split her irises, she would give them to me. And when she gave me this one box of bulbs, she told me that these irises came from your grandmother's garden down at the ranch, and so they're very special to me. So anyway, I picked I picked a bouquet of the dark purple ones this morning, and I thought, oh my gosh, wouldn't those be beautiful on a table topper? Oh, I hear my little kitty. On a purple table topper, and just, I think it'd be very dramatic. So I decided, since I have my purple strips here, and I have a full drawer, and there's more that I can add to it, but this has a real good variety to get me started. And so I'm going to make, I don't know how big I'm going to make this table topper, but I'm going to get started on it. And this little one was made from some leftovers. You might did a New York Beauty quilt with this line of fabrics. So I just took some leftovers and made this little mug mat. And I have a lot of these, but they're fun to do, and I'll make them and put them away, and give a little gift with a mug or that goes with it, or a bottle of wine or whatever. Anyway, they're fun to have around. So let's get started on making the little hexagon log cabin. This is the foundation. You can see that. And we're going to start with our fabric piece number 1, a little square. This is 3 by 3, so from a 6 by 6 square, I can get 4 of these. So we're going to start with that. We're going to set the foundation on top. Remember, this is the wrong side of the fabric. going to set this on top and have about this is space number 2. And this is the line where I'm going to sew piece number 2 on, and I want about 1/4 of an inch of fabric to go past the line between space 1 and 2. And you want to make sure that you've got at least 1/4 of an inch all the way around past the line for space number 1. I'm going to put a pin back here, and then I'm going to turn it over. And when it's like this, you're looking at the right side of the foundation. You can read all the numbers. So you're looking this, we call this the right side of the foundation, and we're looking through to the wrong side of our fabrics. So then we're going to turn it over, and from my stack of I just want a little piece, if I can find just a little one. Of course, everything on the top has to, well, that's okay. We'll cut it. How's that? And they do get wrinkled. I don't try to keep, I used to be pretty good about keeping my strips all rolled up. Now get down, Lex. I have a cat that wants to participate. So we're going to take our fabric piece number 2, put right sides together, edges even, and then we're just going to take it to the machine. If you want to pin it, by all means pin it. It does make it easier to get to the sewing machine if you pin. And then we're just going to stitch. And remember, you don't back stitch, and you don't need to use a little tiny stitch because we're leaving the foundation in. This is our secret to perfect blocks. If you can sew on a line, you can make these blocks beautifully and easily. Okay, so there we have piece number 2 sewn on. Your next step is to press it, and I suggest setting your stitches first to make that fold as flat as you can. And yes, I do use steam, and I forgot to turn this down a little bit. So there we have piece 1 and piece 2. So now the next step is step number 3. We're going to turn it over and we're going to trim to get ready to add piece number, what did I say, 1 and 2. We're going to trim to add piece number 3. Number 3 is right here. This is the line where we're going to sew it on. So we'll put our straight edge right up along that line, fold the foundation back. Never want to cut your foundation. And then use your add 1/4 ruler. It's got the lip on it, add 1/4 inch. It just hooks on your straight edge. And trim that off. Turn it over. There's your 1/4 inch seam allowance. So turn it over so the right sides of your fabrics are facing each other. Grab another piece. And I do not pre-cut, when I'm just using for my stash, I don't pre-cut my fabrics. Center that up. The pattern does, and the package of blocks does tell you what size. If you're purpose cutting for a quilt, it has all the sizes that you need. And I'm making the centers of all of these blocks that are going to be in this table topper. I'm doing them with this cave fabric that's mostly yellow, just because I love purple and yellow together. So set those stitches, open that up and press it. So now we have 1, 2, and 3. We're going to turn it over and we're going to trim for number 4. This is a log cabin, so you're just going to go right around. The numbers go right in order around the center and keep working around. all the way out to the outer edge. Trim down for our 1/4 inch seam allowance. Turn it over and reach in the bag and get another piece. I'm going to cut that down. I think I'm going to press that just a teeny bit so I don't get a wrinkle in it when I'm sewing. And it is much easier with our foundation to notice if you've got a wrinkle or a piece turned under, because you can see it and you can feel it because this is so thin. Whereas paper, sometimes you can't see where it is, and if you have to tear it out, you ruin or compromise the foundation. And if you've watched me for very long, you know I really like to trim my threads as I go. There's threads all over my quilt, I don't know why, it just bothered me. Okay, that's number 4. Now we're going to do number 5 right here. Anybody working on anything interesting? Before I forget, Laura is not going to be able to do her live tomorrow. I think she has to go to the airport and pick up my son. Wish I was going to the airport to pick him up. Turn that over and stitch on the line. I'm not doing any particular kind of pattern with my colors or anything like that. I'm just pulling from my purple strip bin. Number 6 is right here. This is where I'm going to sew it on. So I want to cut those fabrics down to 1/4 inch. Turn it over and that right there. I am almost done quilting the blue hexie quilt I did last week. I had a little problem. I had to change the needle, and when I unscrewed the little tiny screw that holds the needle in, I dropped it, and it was so tiny. So it took me a while. I went home when that happened and said, I'll tackle it tomorrow, which was yesterday. Number 7 is right here. So I found it yesterday and got a few a few rows quilted. Let's see, how about a dark piece? It's a little too wrinkled. It needs to be pressed. And it's too big, but too long. Turn that over. But you see how nice it is to, I haven't spent any time cutting fabric for this quilt. And I'll be using the same bin when I work on my pineapple, the Big King pineapple. I might add a few more from the big bin, cut some more strips down, add to the variety of what's in there, although it's a huge variety already. Okay, that was number 7. Number 8 is right here. We'll turn this over. Hi guys. We're making the log cabin hexagon, or is it hexagon log cabin hexagon? Okay, let's see. We haven't used this. And of course, I can use the same fabric more than once. Is that selvage? No. I'm just trying to see how many different fabrics I can find in here. And I love it when I'm doing from my stash, because I'll come across some fairly old fabrics and remember the projects we did with them. Yesterday I did go in and I gave a title to all of the lives so far, made them public. So if you missed something and you want to go back and see it, that should make it easier. And I'm trying to do one subject matter each week for 3 shows. So you can see the beginning, the middle, and the end of the project. And make it so if you decide to make one of them, whatever it is that we've been working on, it's easy for you to find. So you can go back and watch them at your leisure. And hopefully learn a little something. Hi, Holly. Ooh, I remember this fabric. I have this in a couple of different colorways. Oh, and we had talked last week about maybe doing some wearables, a jacket or whatever. And in a couple of weeks, we're going to do our first jacket. And for those of you who do not like making garments, we're going to start with a sweatshirt. We're going to not necessarily deconstruct it, but you won't realize it's a sweatshirt when you're done. And because it's easy to get the right size, you buy one size larger than you normally wear, because we will be cutting it down and re-sewing, so it will make it slightly smaller. So if you want to get a sweatshirt we're going to turn it into a beautiful jacket. Okay, let's see. That was 7, 8, 9, 10 is over here. Fold that back. And later on then I have some patterns that I designed years ago under the Debbie's Designs label, and we'll probably be bringing those in to do with our foundations. Let's see. Oops. Do that. So my line's right here. So I put that well past the line. But you have to remember the line is going to keep coming down at an angle for 1/4 of an inch. And that's a selvage, and I don't want that to show. We'll just cut that off. So I put it, maybe a 1/2 inch past that line. And then I cut this about the same on this side of the line. Flip it over right sides together. And these are neat projects to do between other projects. I know I told you about getting bored working on the same project all the time. So when I have these drawers with strips already cut, if I've been working on a project most of the day and I'm kind of tired of it, I can't just sit still, so I'll grab a drawer, and I usually keep my project until it's done. I usually keep it with a drawer that of the colors I'm using, or I have shelves over there that I keep my ongoing projects in, so I can just grab. I always leave the project on top if it's partially put together or whatever. And oh, that one's not cut in strips yet. Ooh, that's pretty. You know me in the fall colors. We just might have to use that later. Let's see. Okay, 10, 11 is here. And you could wait and trim the extra length after you stitched it. It's just whatever is easiest for you, or how you like to handle it. Okay, 10, 11, 12 is next. that's pretty. I'm going to leave it for a little bit later. Get the selvage off. And remember, if you aren't anywhere near a town where we do a show, if you have a guild, if you belong to a guild, or you have a local quilt shop, or both, I do trunk shows and workshops all over the country. So we try to coordinate our trips so that we can save guilds or shops travel expenses, and that way we get to work one-on-one with you, and it's a lot of fun. And I do it, usually I'll go to the guild meeting and talk for about an hour about what we do. And trust me, I can fill up an hour quite easily. And I share quite a few quilts and talk about them. And either how they, whatever. But we do that. So if you think your guild might enjoy it, have the program chairman get in touch with Laura via her email. It's laura@easypiecing.com, or you can contact me and Deb at Easy Piecing. That is 13, 14 is here. And we can check our calendars with yours and get to it. Oh, I think this is going to be pretty. Love purple. I'm going to press that because it's too big of a chance of getting that corner curled under there. I am still working on hexies at night, and this morning I got up and I did a little applique stitching, and my math is totally off. The other day I said if I got 3 done a day, I'd be done in 8 days. Because I need to do, there's 72 blocks in that quilt, so I have, let's see, I have 1, 2, 3, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, I have 14 done. It's going to take me a while. But I am getting a little faster. Making the flower part is the easy part. It's the applique that takes the time. And there's no way to get around that. Ooh, that's interesting. Save those smaller ones for another one of these blocks. Okay, that was number 15. Number 16's right here. They should just go right on around. I know they do. Oh, pretty, pretty. Oh my goodness, I have some down here I haven't seen in a long time. Cut the selvage off. You could do this in all day. You could do this to go from like dark to light, you know, dark in the middle to light on the outside, or vice versa. There's a lot. You could do color wash. It's a pretty versatile, just like a log cabin, it's pretty versatile with the things you can do playing with colors. Or you could do like I did on the one I just finished. You can do each round. Like this one, I did each round in a different color. So, you know, you could just do all kinds of things with it. You could intertwine them. You could just, best thing to do if you want to be real artistic is just make copies of the block and color it in. So this, I should have got the pattern out. This is, the table topper is a pattern available on the website. It's called the hexagon log cabin. I hope I have a shorter one. And then we do sell packages of blocks if you want to make it bigger or you want to make it again. I'm thinking this one I am going to make probably the table topper has 7 blocks, just like in a hexie, to make a flower, 7. And then it has the pattern comes with fill-in blocks. Almost thought I put that one on upside down. this one is, this is the center block, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But then here there's a fill in and a fill in to make it, I guess it's still 6-sided, I don't know. Now it's a little more than 6-sided, but it fills it in so you don't have this awkward edge. This was really fun to do. I started with the center block and, you know, did the colors around, the yellow, green, blue, purple, reds and oranges, back into the yellows, reds, oranges, or pinks and reds. And then, like I did this one with the green, but it kind of got a little yellow on this side and a little blue over here. So then this one I went with the orange, yellow, orangish to yellow, yellow to the orange and pink or red, to the pinks, to the purples, to the blues, back to the greens. Just, I made each block and put it up on the design wall as I went, so I got a good, you know, got the colors flowing. But it was a lot of fun to do. A little bit of a challenge, but the blocks are certainly easy. It's the setting of your colors that took the time. Okay, number 18. I like the Cave collection because it does have the spectrum of colors like that. But I would suppose any what do you call it, the 10-inch, is that not a charm pack, layer cake, any would really work because they usually have, you know, the colors all go together. You could do the same sort of thing. I guess my cat got mad. She went and laid on the counter. We, several years ago, some of you know this story, we had somebody dropped off. We live in the country, and somebody dropped off 4 young cats. And we would see them under a tree up by the road. And of course, I didn't like them being up by the road. And our dogs, we had 3 dogs for years and years. We had 3 dogs. And within 2 years, all 3 died. They were old. It wasn't anything bad other than they were old and too close in age made it hard. So we were petless for the first time in our 50 years of marriage. And so somebody dumped off these cats, and Debbie decided she needed to put food out for them because I wanted to keep them around. I like to have the mousers out here in the country. We were inundated with squirrels and gophers. My beautiful yard, I was battling gophers all the time. So anyway, we kept these 4 cats. They weren't pets, but they were around. We'd see them around. And we noticed after a few months that we weren't getting gophers anymore. It was pretty nice. And but they were never friendly enough to pet or anything like that. And then one day, my caretaker called my husband, and he said, "Don't tell Debbie, but I hear kittens somewhere outside my bedroom window." So, of course, Bob immediately told me, and I went looking for him, and I found a mama and I think 6 babies in an old shed. So I put a trap at the door into the shed and went out the next morning, and there was a cat in it, a cat underneath it playing with the one in the trap. So I picked up the one underneath. She let me pick her right up, and the one in the trap, and took him home and put the trap back out there. Mama was not happy with me at all, and so the next morning or that afternoon, I had a third one in the trap, and I brought it in, and we put them in we had a huge dog kennel, so we put them in there and started taming them. And the third one was a salty cat. Oh, she was so ferocious. And they all were different. One was an orange. Little boy was the orange one, and then I don't know that much about cat breeds, so, but they were all 3 different, and they all became very friendly. So then my husband built a catio. We had a pet door where they could go in and out from the kennel to the catio, and then we would let them in the house, let them out of the kennel when we were in the house, and we wanted them to be our pets. Well, unbeknownst to us, the other 3, there was 1 male and 3 females in the original group that got dumped here. They all had kittens. I was inundated with cats, so we had the local 2021. We had the local lady that helps spay and neuter the cats. They came and they trapped, because there were 16 cats here, and we wanted them all fixed and adopted, and we kept 4, and we still have all 4. But the 2 sisters from the original litter that I trapped did not get along at all. I mean, not at all. So I brought the real sweetheart of a one, down to the shop and made her my shop cat. And she did okay, but when we travel, the caretaker would come in and feed her and clean her litter box and all that, and he might pet her once. But that was it, no loves, and she was a very loving cat. So when we got home from this last trip, I said, I'm going to make her my house cat. So the other 3 cats pretty much live in our patio area, in our yard, and don't wander off, maybe out in the field to go catch a mouse or something, but they're there at the door every morning waiting for me to put their food out. And when it starts at night, when I bring their food in, they're usually, I don't know where they sleep, but we don't usually see them. Anyway, so I brought Bingo up to the house and made her house cat, and I think she thinks she died and went to heaven. She's never been that happy and had so much love. But her sister, the salty one, has now decided she wants to be the shop cat. So she found the pet door in the front, but the pet door, we have one pet door that goes to the front, the screened front porch, and then we have another pet door that goes into the closet in the front room. And that one was blocked. So yesterday, every day she's been coming down here with me, and she's a really good cat. She just doesn't get along with the other cats. So she, yesterday I showed her the door into the closet. So now she thinks she's real hot stuff because she can come and go. And she's quite content. She's very good by herself. It's just she doesn't like the other cats, and I don't know why. But she has, she's always been very independent, and suddenly she's become very loving. So, and then we have a little, yep, two from another litter that we saved from all the 16 cats. And they'll come in the door to the house for a few minutes, but they don't stay in long. They're outside cats, but they won't get up on the table where I feed them in the morning until I picked them both up and loved them and talked to them, baby them. So Debbie now has 4 cats, and I've always said I'm not a cat person, I'm a dog person, but I love my cats. Crazy how that happens. They just steal your heart. So I am down to the last piece, number 25. No, I'm sorry, that was 24, 23. That was 22 I just added. I'm all right here. 23 is next. And it's easy to tell. You can just go by where the last line of stitching was. This is fun digging through this. Get down to the bottom. Get some new stuff here. Oh, I haven't done this one. I don't remember all these little floral prints, where I got these from. I don't remember using them in a project. Somebody posted on Facebook, asked a question. I think I talked about this the other day. Do you buy fabric and then figure out what you're going to use it for? And yes, if you love fabric, you do that all the time. It's just that when I got older, I learned to buy more, bigger pieces of yardage. And I have some bins that I've had for way too many years. And I know there's some finished quilt tops in them. And I need to pull them out and get them quilted. Even if it's to donate, I would love to donate some quilts. That hexy one I made the other day is a perfect lap size for wheelchair. So I was thinking, if I was a good girl, I would make a bunch of them, different colors, and take them to our local nursing home and donate them. Do I have this one in here? I don't think. Oh yeah, I do there. Not that I can't use the same fabric twice. That one's there. I'd like not to, and I know. Oh, that's the one there. Well, we can go with a plain color. Lots of strips of Moda marbles. There we go. this is going to be a fun, pretty quilt. So it's beautiful outside. There's a few clouds floating around, but mostly sunny, but it's still cool. I think it's only like 64 degrees or something. That's still too cool for me. Although if I was out doing actual physical labor in the yard, it might be just right. But the yard still, I went out this morning. When I went out to cut the irises, I went up in the field, freshly mowed field. A couple years ago, I was out, I don't know what I was doing, but I looked up in the field and I saw this big old white patch of something. So I walked up there and it was a huge patch of irises, all white. And of course then I picked them. So I thought this morning, well, I'm going to go pick some to go with the dark purple. And I walked up there, and unfortunately when the caretaker mowed that whole field, he mowed all my irises down. But I can see where all the bulbs are, so I'm going to wait a little longer and then I will dig them up and bring them up and plant them in my yard. I have lavender and dark purple, but I don't think I have any pure white, so they'll be a nice addition. Now I think I got it all covered. Yep, 25. So there it is. And I'm going to go around and stitch it down. I didn't used to do this, but all of these have long expanses where the fabrics aren't attached to the foundation. And I find it just makes it easier when you're joining the blocks that when they're stitched in the seam allowance, they're like one. So it makes it a lot easier. You don't have to worry if your fabric isn't in the exact right place, because it will be. Just don't stretch this, or well, you can't really stretch it, but don't get a wrinkle in it that will distort it. But this makes it much nicer to work with, especially when you have a long expanse where it's not attached to the foundation. So I think when I do the sweatshirt, the jacket out of the sweatshirt, I think I am going to channel my Freddie Moran style. I took my very first quilting class from her. And love her wild color choice and style. So I'm thinking I'm going to gather from when I'm doing these, sorting my fabrics for this, I'm going to pull the reds and the black and whites and make a coat. Let me get my ruler here. Ouch. Now we're going to trim around the outside edge 1/4 inch from the solid line. There we are. My broken lines generally are at 1/4 inch, but I always recommend you cut it 1/4 inch from the solid line. It looks like this dotted line is just slightly inside the full 1/4 inch. And a lot of times that happens because of the way we set it up to make the best use of the fabric, the foundation fabric, when it's going to be printed. Okay. Voila. Oh, I think it's beautiful. What do you think? Now I only have a minimum of 6 more of these to make. And this one went pretty fast, so I don't think it'll take too long. You know, the thing about doing these on these live shows is it inspires me to get them done so I can show you what the finished thing looks like. So like with my hexies, I'll keep bringing those back as I finish those projects. And oops, what are we doing here? And as I do these projects, I will bring them back. It might be a couple weeks later, but I will bring them back and show you that yes, I really did finish them, and this is what they look like. You can do it too. So let's get another one started here. I have more of this fabric, this K fabric. We'll cut a 3" by 3" center or thereabouts. See, this is a little crooked. That does not matter because we're going to be trimming it as we go. If you wanted to fussy cut your centerpiece, that's certainly not a problem. I'll put that over there. If you wanted to fussy cut this first piece like I did in this one, I cut that flower. I would just cut like a 3 by 3 square and make sure this is centered, or cut your square a little bigger just to make sure. And then when you take your foundation to get started, as long as you can kind of see on your fabric, on the wrong side of your fabric, where your motif is that you want to center. Need to get this right side up. There we go. You know, you can see where your flower is. I don't know if I have anything here that would be good to, yeah, here, perfect. Like on this one, if I wanted to center the butterfly, you know, I would, it's obviously too big for this, but if we wanted to, there's a smaller one, yeah, there's perfect. Like this little purple one, if I wanted to center that, you know, you can do it quite easily. Don't know if, yeah, that's got to go that way. But you could do that, and then piece number 2 is up here. Just use your straight edge. When you get this exactly where you want it, use your straight edge. Pull this back, trim it at 1/4 of an inch, and just go from there. I would cut this piece down, but yeah, that would work. You know, it makes it easy. Oh, that's gorgeous. I was just looking to see if there was anything else. Anyway, there's not any particular motif in this fabric I'm using that I would want to center. So we're just going random. And there is space number 2. This is where we're going to stitch number 2 on. So I want my 1/4 of an inch, and I want to make sure I'm going to pull it over just a little bit there. So I know I've got at least 1/4 inch all the way around the center hexie. And then put a pin back here. And then turn it over and grab a piece of fabric for number 2. And I think I'm going to use one of these little pieces. That will work. See, even the smallest scraps are usable. Turn it over with the foundation side up. Make sure I got that laying flat. And stitch on the line. Where am I here? I don't know how I missed all these messages, but thank you for coming, for joining us. You're restarting a 12-inch log cabin. Whoops. I guess it'll help if I take my needle out. Okay, so we've got piece number 1, piece number 2, and now we're going to take my pin out, and now we are going to hi, Lorraine. And remember, we're doing all this from my scraps of whatever, my stash made up of scraps. And I showed earlier how I organize this. Over a period of time when I'm cutting for other quilts, whatever, I have a laundry hamper under the cutting counter, and I just put the scraps in there, and I keep everything that's larger than a 2-inch by 2-inch. And then when that hamper gets full, I go into the room where I keep all my fabrics, and all my fabrics are sorted in big drawers by color. And the first thing I do is I just sort from the hamper by color. I don't care what size fabric is or anything like that. I just want to sort them by color. And if I have, when I'm cutting like fabric kits, if I have, say, 3/4 of a yard left and it calls for 1.5 yards for the kit, I'll cut a 1/2 yard off of that 3/4 and slit it for 2 fat quarters for the sail table. I put the other piece in this hamper to go in the drawers. Sometimes I might have, like I have, you know, a pattern that calls for 2 yards of the background fabric. On a 15-yard bolt, I end up with an extra yard. So I'll put that in there. And so when I'm sorting, they all go by color in the big drawers. And then when the big drawers start to get full or my strip bins start to get empty, I will go pull a blue drawer. And trust me, I have like 4 drawers of blue that have not been sorted yet. I have I looked in yesterday, four drawers of black and white, probably 6 or 7 drawers of neutrals. Anyway, they're all divided by color. I will pull a drawer out, bring it out, and sit and sort through it all. Anything bigger than a half yard gets folded and put back in the drawer. Anything, any fat quarters or anything I can cut a fat quarter from, I fold it. It goes in a bin labeled whatever color it is, and it's just nothing but fat quarters. And those are for my personal use. And then anything smaller than a fat quarter, I generally will cut a couple of 6-inch squares, and the rest I cut into strips 1 3/4 inches. If it's a 2-inch strip, I don't cut it down to 1 3. I just throw it in. If it's anything jelly roll size or smaller, down to 1 3/4, I put in the strip bin. And then I am ready to make, like this one this morning or this afternoon, you know, log cabin. This is a hexagon log cabin. My diagonal stripe blocks. That is a wedding quilt I'm making, all neutrals, and from grays to tans. And I showed it. I can't turn the camera right now. It's a pineapple block that finishes at 14 inches, and it's on the website. It's shown as the rainbow quilt, and I'm making another one because I'm going to make it a little bit bigger. And then this one is a 5-inch diagonal block, and this goes together really fast. And I mentioned the other day, if somebody, when Laura's doing her live, ask her to show you the one we've got started, she would finish it. She's got the color side done on all the rest of the blocks, but she's waiting for me to send her more neutrals. So it's my fault it's not done. I will get them to her. But I wanted to finish the wedding quilt first. So anyway, this is a table runner, and don't look at my prairie points. It was my first time making prairie points, and I'm not sure I'm going to leave them on there. We'll see. I sewed them on, and then I faced it, so I can take that all off if I want. I'm not sure. And then, of course, this is the one I'm making now. And I've done the pineapple blocks, our original 12-inch pineapple block. But all my strips are already cut, so now I can just play with them. And I don't pre-cut them to the proper length. If you've been watching, you see I just cut the length as I go. But it's all done for me, so it makes it a lot easier. So we're doing a purple table topper today. I've got piece number 1, piece number 2. I need to add piece number 3 next. This is where I'm going to sew it on. So we're going to put our straight edge right there along the stitching line. And then we're going to fold this back. Don't want to cut your foundation. The add a quarter ruler is the only tool you need to make anything that we have. I have other templates and stuff, but they aren't necessary. This I highly, highly recommend. It, You know, for $7.95 to make everything, every pattern we have, every block we have, this is all you need besides your rotary cutter. And it just hooks on your straight edge. If I was going to do a regular ruler, you could set it there, but 9 times out of 10, it's going to move. And it's just a little more difficult to use. And this is our grippy straight edge. This is a piece of cardstock that's been laminated with a fine grit sandpaper. It basically holds the foundation to it, and it keeps your foundation from slipping. Now, if you watch Laura, she uses it this way. But you have to, when you lay it, because it's not going to move. Once you lay it down, it's not going to move. You can use it like that too. So I find I try to move too fast, so that's not the easy way for me to do it. But there's no quilt police, so you can do it any way you want. Put right sides together, edges even. And remember, we use a regular stitch length because we're leaving the foundation in, which is what makes this product so wonderful. It keeps your block square, but it doesn't add any weight or bulk to it. And then we press it. I always say this is a 3-step process. Number 1 was to stitch it. Step number 2 is to press it. Step number 3 is to trim, so we can go back to step number 1. This is number 4. This is where I'm going to sew it on. And I'm going to have to head out just a little early today. Bob has a doctor's appointment I have to take him to, so. Okay, and it was made before I started doing these shows, so we'll get by. I mean, this is so nice because you don't have to worry about measuring anything. And Saturday, I'm going to be showing you a log cabin quilt I'm making. We'll be working on a log cabin. Number 5. I think I have, yeah, that's kind of big. Well, if we're gonna count one, let's go from a big one. This block is small enough I can put the fabric in the right place and hold it with my fingers and flip it over and don't have to pin it. Okay. Number 6. Well, I keep grabbing that one. Let's use this one. I think it's just big enough. Uh-oh. Does anybody have an idea of, I've got some ideas for next week's shows, but just wondered if anybody had any requests to see something in particular. Because I have oodles of ideas. Threads. Now we'll use this one. Which new pattern? The new ones that are out are the Twisted Log Cabin, the, what else? The Twisted Log Cabin. I'm working on some new ones, but they're not, the patterns aren't published yet. And Laura just did the Circle of Geese. That's the other new one. My brain is failing me. I do have, I have a couple patterns that are in the process. As soon as they're published, I would love to share them. The Twisted Log Cabin, I can do that one next week. I'm going to be doing it in a different colorway, just to have something different. We can do the Twisted Log Cabin. Eight, 9, going in our second round. Oh, let's see, I gotta pull some new ones out of here. I don't know if I'll ever get these stashes, these strip doors down. It would be nice. But I think I add far more than I sew. I'm going to be cutting kits and I have been accumulating a ton of batiks. So I'll be doing the batik fat quarters for the sale table. And then what's left, I get to keep. So, yay. Number 10. Let's see, I've used those. Haven't used that one yet. And I could reuse the same fabric in the same block. It's just with the variety I have, I like to mix it up. And of course I'll use them in the other blocks so it'll all tie together. You know, another advantage to using these foundations over paper. Paper is really hard on your sewing machine needles. When I was paper piecing, I don't know why I didn't realize more often that it was my needle that was dull, that was causing my tension problems. You know, you think it's your machine not holding the tension right, and as you go along on your paper, it dulls your needle, and then it can't pick the thread up underneath as well. I think I've used all those over there. I like this fabric. Oh, I think I know. I know where this came from. Years ago, I mentioned earlier that I have jacket patterns that I produced under the Debbie's Designs label. And I had a lady in Indiana who saw my jackets and she didn't sew, so she ordered a couple, and one had to be in purples with the lilacs. Oh, it was gorgeous. And I think this was a companion fabric that was in it. I remember now. But yes, we'll do, not next week, but the week after, then we'll do, I think we'll do the sweatshirt jacket. And it will not look like a sweatshirt. I will have a sample for you to see. And we'll get it made. 11, 12 right there. What are we doing in time? I think I gotta go. I gotta get Bob to the doctor, and we'll be back on Saturday. Hopefully, if I don't have this done, it will be close and I can show you how to put it together. In fact, I'll do that. I will get the blocks made and then we'll put it together on Saturday. And then I want to share my reproduction fabric log cabin quilt that I'm working on. So it's going to end up, I think, being a big quilt. So I'll share that with you. And for those who missed us during the week, I'll do a real quick run through on how to organize the scraps and all. But I think that will do it. And so the next couple weeks are sort of planned. We'll do the twisted log cabin next week. And then the week after that, we will start on the jacket. So if you want to, I'll tell you what, we may not start it the following week because I want to show it to you. So in case you want to order the blocks or anything ahead, you can do that. And of course we'll review. Hopefully I'll have more hexy stuff done to show you. And who knows, there might be a new project or two out there. So you guys have a great rest of your day, a wonderful Friday, and I hope I see you Saturday at noon Pacific time. We'll see you then. Take care. Bye-bye.